start with roll call. Start with the board first.
Regal Rose.
The two co-hosts. So Jared, you with us? Yep. I thought that might be you. How you doing?
Yep.
And Glenn, I just made you a co-host. Here you are.
Hi, Greg.
Hey,
Appreciate that.
So we got Glenn Roberts as well. Okay, so we do have a quorum. So we'll go ahead and go to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So first item we have on the agenda this evening, so it's audience comments on specific to the agenda items. We do ask any audience members to just limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please just raise your hand, be recognized, and we'll just ask you to state your name and address too for the record. Any audience comments at this time?
I actually have one.
Sure, yeah, just state your
Hi.
name and address for the record.
Tracy Adenio, 22676 Cherokee, Rose Place. And just a quick question. I wanted to know if it's possible to put information that is not necessarily CDD related onto a monthly newsletter, even though it's for the same community. Is that possible?
That would absolutely depend on the contents that we were, can you give me an example?
Just one line item in particular, it's the HOA monthly meeting that we have. Since this is viewed by all community members, I'm just informing them of the date and time.
That'll really be up to the board, whether the board wants to advertise for non-CDD events. Not typically something that we do, but it can be done.
This specific one at least, because it's our annual.
One thing I would add is, I know you guys are super cooperative with the HOA, and I think that's all positive. It's not taking anything away from that. Once you open something up, this sort of a public forum, you should be careful about opening up too broadly. And so, to the extent you guys do want to do this, which I think completely within your own purview to do, and probably all need to have that information on there. Just make it clear on the record that the intent is not to open it up to the public forum, but simply to allow for both the CD and HOA to provide communications to the community that they both serve. So, as opposed to having allowing it for other third parties to do the same. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah, it does make sense.
Yep.
Okay. Did you guys understand what Jared was
I'm not
saying?
really sure what that means.
So, the way I understand, Jared, please correct me if I'm wrong, is, he wants it just for the CD to make it clear that we'll be putting HOA meetings on there, but if so-and-so company were to come to us about putting an email blast out to the community, that we wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
It would
it's not-
just be solely working with the HOA on an email blast for their meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Exactly.
just
It's not
one event.
It's just the HOA and CD are cooperating on just community communications for because both of them serve the same community.
Right.
Is the event like?
Just for the annual meeting specifically,
You know when that's gonna be, is it soon or?
January 14th. So we just need it for the one time.
Okay, and how many times are you looking for that to go out? A couple of times a week, once?
She's just asking if you include it in CDD.
Just whenever you're sending out the newsletter.
Oh, with the newsletter?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Fallon, you got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, no problem. If we can just get with you after the meeting, get your phone number, we can get that
Yeah, no
information from you
problem.
guys, that'd be great.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And if you would, I don't mean to make it super formal, but we probably do want to at least maybe have a motion on it, offer some comments not on the agenda, and take a motion to set that parameter in the record as part of the motion.
Okay. So then we'd just be looking for a motion to approve allowing Brian and the amenity staff team to send the HOA meeting notification with the newsletter as a cooperative
Just for January.
just for the January meeting.
Motion.
Yeah, but without opening the email communication is a public
As a
forum.
public forum, yeah, okay. So we have a first from Chanel. You have a second?
Second.
Second from Reagan. All in favor?
Aye.
So, motion is passed 4-0. Okay. Just an extra note there. Okay, great. Okay, any other audience comments at this time? Okay, seeing none, and let me just check in, make sure there's nobody else on. Nope, all righty. So we'll go ahead and move on to approval of minutes. We do have the November 19th, 2024 meeting minutes. I didn't receive any edits before the meeting, but if you do have any questions or edits, please let us know. If not, we're just looking for a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a first from Daniel and a second from Janelle. All in favor? Lynn? All right, so that is a 4-0, motion has passed. Okay, we'll move on to section 4 here. So this is staff items. We do have district engineer. Don't have anything specific for the engineer, but if you do have anything that you'd like to ask them, please let us know. We can take that back to them. Otherwise, we'll just move on to field manager.
What's going on, guys? Just a couple things I have today, just the updates on the outdoor repairs. So tomorrow we'll begin work patching up the roof, the ceiling right there. So that should be done before the new year. We're just waiting for the back cabana. We ordered a new fan. That's the only thing we're waiting on, the fan and the lighting around it. So that should be in pretty soon. Then also the bollards will be starting to come out right after the new year. So they're both on our schedule. Yeah, do you guys have any questions for me?
That's why the dumpster is out there for the bollards.
Where?
No, that is for Vermont, for the pool.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we would probably do it on the trailer.
okay.
So, yeah, that's for this one.
Correct me, how many bollards do we have that were from the last meeting? Did they like 35 or 40?
Yeah, I can get you the exact number. I have to pull up the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have as far as updates. If you guys have any questions or concerns, the holiday lights went up, they're all working, so, yeah, if anything else comes up, please just let me know.
On this list, it says playground issues, this proposal, can we get that changed to in progress?
Yeah.
And then some in progresses are in green, the others are not highlighted at all, we have to complete the
Just,
green.
yeah, just the landscape and the aquatics inspections, those are just ongoing, so I just have them in green,
Okay,
because those happen monthly, so,
Okay.
I just kind of left them where they are in the green, so, if I can change it if you want,
okay,
make it easier to read, but I'll make them work for you.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Tom or specific to the field report or field issues? No? Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to landscape manager and reports. Do you have your landscape report? Tom, touch on that as well?
Oh, she's right there. Yeah, so, obviously we had a couple palm trees die out. They're being removed. Actually, the lift broke, halfway through, so you'll see half of them on the right-hand side going to the clubhouse. Haven't been trimmed yet. But overall, I think we did pretty well considering what we could have lost and what we did lose, so. But yeah, Mike said, if anyone has any questions or concerns or anything, just to reach out to me and I'll get it over to him and we can, get it straightened out. So,
There has not been any discussion of replacing anything that the board doesn't know about, right?
not yet, no. We'd have to get them out first. we'll go from there.
I have a question, Ellen, can you show the picture on page 20, please? Yeah, so in the boulevard, I don't know the name of that plant, but those grassy things are way overgrown.
The fountain grass.
Yeah, I mean, they're over the curb, they're practically touching the street. Can we get Mike to cut that stuff back? I mean, I know this was brought up last month with the meeting
Yeah.
too, where it's also not in compliance with FDOT. Those really need to be cut back.
Yeah, I'll get with them right now. So.
Okay, thank you.
There's one specifically Queen Anne Lace.
Queen Anne Lace.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, we'll
That's- yeah, that's-
We'll just give a whole inspection.
Yeah.
I would just have them go throughout the whole
Yeah.
boulevard and check every
Yeah.
single one at this point.
I'll
Yeah.
start with Queen Anne Lace, be like this is.
Yeah, that
what
would
we
be
should look at.
great, because that's right at an intersection, and I know it's really,
That's the one where the turn really can see.
yes, exactly.
We've gotten a couple of complaints on that.
Yeah, I'll get with them right now.
Is there, and maybe this is more of a question for Mike, but why do we have to keep asking them to do their job? I mean, we shouldn't have to tell them this is overgrown, they should be doing that. Is that a question that we need to have Mike back in here for?
Yeah, we can have Mike at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's always a good idea to have the vendor speak for himself in that type of instance. I tend to agree with you though,
Yeah.
in this case.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've officially requested, but, I would like to get a copy of, the Cardinal contract so that we can all review it. And then I would love to get new quotes for landscaping vendors after the first of the year.
Okay, I think your link would have to be an official RFQ
Okay,
process. So, I think at the next meeting, after we get what you're looking for,
Yeah.
at that point would be a good time to open up the conversation,
okay,
and see if we really want to go through that. If we
Okay.
do, we'll get started, no problem.
okay. Yeah, if we can add that to the agenda for the next meeting, figure out what it is we want voted, and then go from there. I don't know, do you all, I'm pretty sure you kind of brought this up before too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, is it Jer or
Chair?
on the phone? Yeah, they probably have recommendations about like what would be standard to include, because one of the things I feel like is missing in our current contract is, you know, maintaining, FDOT regulated like height for shrubbery and stuff like that along, public roads. So that would be just one example of something we want to cover, just really like hone in on what the scope of their services are, because we do give them a lot of projects that are in addition to the services that they provide from, you know, they're outsourcing the trimming of the trees on the boulevard, they're outsourcing, I don't know about irrigation, but that's a big one, we could probably be having, you know, getting quotes on those kind of things, because the irrigation, we're just like hemorrhaging on that, with money. And then like enhancements, any enhancements that we do, I think tree trimming, we could be getting, you know, I know it's a pain, but we could be shopping around a bit, but we've had this long relationship with them and.
Yeah, I can speak to that a
In
little
good
bit.
faith that they give us a good price, but. I feel like-
Absolutely. I think another good reason why the district does that is to avoid kind of confusion between vendors. What we see that happening when we go with, you know, you have a regular landscape vendor and then you have a tree that you need to get serviced and you guys want to get different prices from different vendors, you choose a different vendor. What will happen is something happens with that tree, your landscaping vendors will be like, well, it's them, they didn't take care of it or install it right, and then they're gonna come back, well, your landscaper isn't taking care of it or watering it correctly. So you get a lot of that back and forth, so in order to avoid that, you tend to try to use the same vendor that you have contract, because you know that they're gonna take care of it if something goes wrong, but, it's something that we can absolutely do.
Like the shilling bushes, for example, you know, that's something, I mean, that's with $13,000 to remove, and we're not even close to what we'd like to remove, and I'm not saying they're responsible for removal, but that's something I feel like we could ask, you know, and yes, they could say, okay, well, they wrecked your irrigation, but we kind of know that going into
Well,
it.
and to Janelle's point, I mean, that should be within their scope of review to begin with.
We
If you have a contract for all landscaping activities within the community, here's what it entails, and abide by it. I mean, I get the projects like the tree trimming on the boulevard, if they subcontract that out, that's on them, but it's still under their review.
If we could get it in one contract, all of those things that we do, it seems like every year, you know, that would be even
Absolutely.
better.
Absolutely.
There was also,
Hey, I'm happy to help with this, because I was assuming we pair up the GMS on some of that.
Yes. have scopes and things that we've used for other districts to kind of like a template.
Yeah,
And then obviously we can fine tune it for the district.
okay.
And obviously the council's input, and then something we can bring to the board, and then the board would review, and we can add and discuss some of these options. And have, you know, a direction.
There was a, charge for $450 where there was an emergency tree removal so they could service the pond. And I'm a little unclear how that would be an emergency, and aren't they supposed to be maintained, so were they not maintaining the tree?
So a tree came down in the way of the aquatics vendor,
Oh,
so he couldn't get to where he needed to go.
okay,
So that was it.
okay. Okay. And it goes back to, a tree doesn't randomly fall down, so was this from a hurricane that they didn't do? That now we're getting charged for when we were already charged for hurricane cleanup?
Yeah, it was that back area through the gate, through that,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so it was back there. I'm not 100% sure, but I can ask Mike,
Okay.
you know, what they saw and what. you know,
Yeah.
they saw.
I think it just goes back to I feel like every meeting, we come to the meeting and we have landscaping issues where they weren't doing their job, and we're constantly having to say, why wasn't this done? And maybe that's just part of it, maybe all landscapers are like that, but,
Sometimes
getting
it's
very
like, why
frustrating.
wasn't-
no, go ahead.
sorry. Why was this done? Could we just wait
Right.
for something?
Right,
You know, and so obviously there's like emergency, like a hurricane situation, but, I don't.
Okay, well, Mike saying at the last meeting, you see with that, or maybe money for the emergency, something like that. You know,
For the
they probably
cleanup.
see themselves, and then looking through stuff that they did, and it's not
I
just the.
understand.
Glenn, sorry, Glenn, we're having a bit of a hard time understanding you.
Sorry, but,
I think he was saying that the Cardinals did not charge us for the hurricane cleanup, but I think what Janelle is saying is that she's talking about like trees being removed and trimmed and like the palms around the clubhouse. I don't even know how much that cost. Did we approve that?
No.
Right, so I don't know, like, how much they charged us to remove the
Well, I
lights from the
Yeah,
palm.
did Glenn approve it?
Yeah, I can get it for you.
But was that-
Yeah, but I'm going back to her point, if it was part of the hurricane cleanup, that's $450.
Then it's not- yeah, it's not
It
like
doesn't apply, but it
free.
can come back to us.
Right, and Glenn's saying it was free cleanup, and yeah, they did come like right after and like pick up sticks and branches and, you know, debris and stuff, and that was free, but the other stuff is not free. I see it.
Okay, we can move on, I just,
Glenn, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know we were trying to, we had a hard time hearing you. Kind of.
Not really.
Not really.
we can hear noise, we just can't
Yeah,
understand
I
what
can't,
he's
I can't
saying.
make out what you're saying.
That's something you can answer off the phone.
It's like another language.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can come back if we need to. But we still have another thing too. So there is a proposal here for Cardinal. Looks like Cloyer Parkway entrance landscape enhancements.
Yeah, I think we're tabling.
That was
that.
one of those.
Yeah, we're gonna table that.
So that-
I do wanna say that the photos are super, I really like the photos, like,
Yeah.
can't get enough of those, and they help everybody be on the same page and show the community what's been going on, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for landscaping at this time? All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to district council. Jared? Anything for the board?
Guys, I don't have anything else to get that question for me. But I guess the one thing I would say is it's been a fantastic year. We really enjoyed working with you guys. You guys are one of the favorite communities to work with, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season. So.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Jared. All right. Okay. So we'll go ahead then and move on to committee manager report.
So we have, two of our previous events from November. We talked about the Harvest Garden at the last the last meeting, we talked about yoga as well. A lot less participation last month as well as this month. We haven't had any registration for Thursday. So we've decided to cancel the session just because we've sent out multiple emails about it. Haven't seen anything, as well as, the game night. We did not have any meeting last month. This month, which just happened last Friday, we had 2 people. So still working on that. We have, as far as updates, we're looking at the Little Free Library. I know we talked about, a couple different options for that. Us, Daniel, another board member, working on building that. We also had, I believe, a Girl Scout troop that was looking to potentially sponsor a Little Free Library for us. So that is also an option, an avenue that we can take if that's not, something that we want to move forward with on our side.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I don't see it out there, so I can assume it's not finished?
I should have done that this week.
Okay, I mean,
Just with everything with the holidays and kids' school schedule and everything.
Yeah.
It's just, we can't really do it.
yeah.
I've got all the material, it's just a matter of putting it together.
Okay, I mean, is that something like if the girls, well, like, if the Girl Scout troop isn't wanting to help build it, they're wanting to,
They're probably
Pay for
more
it?
painted.
They would most, I mean, from what I understand about like Girl Scouts and like the Bronze Award, they would do the whole project, the sourcing of the materials, the painting, putting together, that is kind of, I think that's part of it. I don't know exactly, but, we can see if they would be interested in, getting like volunteer hours to help paint it, if that would be helpful.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're working on it, we can definitely move forward with that, and I can see the Girl Scouts that can help out.
If I construct it, at least I can bring it up here, we can maybe, like you said, have them do the painting aspect of it, or extracurricular activity or hours or whatever, service hours,
Yeah.
go that route.
Yeah, I believe that it was Glenn that mentioned, I don't think it was his Girl Scout troop, but it was another Girl Scout troop that he knows of that will be able to help us out, so I'll get with Glenn about that to see.
yeah, I was wondering how that came about, because I, until last meeting, hadn't heard anything about the Girl Scout troop being involved with that, so.
I don't know if he mentioned it at the meeting or if it was just in passing talking about the little library.
He did.
But yeah, I'll get with Glenn about that so we can get that worked on.
Okay.
I know something that we've also been working on, but, hasn't been as pertinent since it's not the summertime and, less frequent use of the amenities is the soccer field water fountain, the one that's right back out here. Just thinking about different options, for it. I know we talked about having like a shade over it or changing the location. I don't know how we feel about that project at the moment.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My question is to Brian or Tom, is this the same water fountain we've had issues with in the past? Okay.
I mean, it's hard to know without quotes for anything, but I hate to have you like running all over getting quotes for 5 different things. I don't know that I think it's pretty expensive to replace, right?
Water fountain?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you can.
It can be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have money in our budget this year with all the other massive projects we have going on.
It's not the best location.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have so much shrubbery and trees right here, that's really the problem. Is that the leaves fall off in it, and the water line gets clogged, and then the filter line gets clogged, and,
Yeah.
it's just gonna keep happening over and over again unless you change that location, or cut down the trees, so.
Yeah, which is gonna be more expensive. Do you have recommendations? I think we had talked about maybe moving it in the entryway. Any other
That would-
suggestions for?
Yeah, that would be my recommendations, moving right here, in front here, because there's gotta be a water line, you got a water hose right there. Another option, which would be more expensive, would be run a water line out to the pavilion that you guys have out there, the little, and then have a water fountain sitting underneath that. But I think the most cost-effective solution would be just moving it right in front of there.
I mean, can we get quotes for that? I mean, it doesn't have to be for our January meeting, we could do it in February, but, I guess just to get an idea and then.
Of course.
If it's just way too expensive, then, do we have the big water jugs? I mean, I know it's more work for staffing, but could we put water jugs out somewhere.
I was even thinking of like, because we do have potable hose water, so you could do something like a camping type water fountain. I don't know, I'm just brainstorming.
Like one of those old school.
Yeah, that's probably better. Healthier, all that.
Work at it.
I'm from New Jersey and I'm afraid of
I
flood.
think the main issue with, having like a water jug is just access to the water, like if we're not here and stuff, like we could put it outside, but it's leaving the water jug outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we're looking to, quotes on moving it, would be the best option in that
Yeah.
respect.
I think it's like
I think-
a safety thing. Like, I think people need to be able to get water in the event of like a heat stroke or something. I know that doesn't happen right now.
Absolutely, I mean, I think it's okay for us to expect for them to come to a soccer field with their own water, but
Yeah.
if we're wanting to provide it, I think we need to figure out whether it's even, if we're even capable of putting it up there
Yeah.
to begin with. So that will be our first step, if we are, we'll get quotes, and we'll provide those quotes at the next meeting.
Okay. And then we can figure out from there what we can do.
Yes, and then, we've also sent out an email about it already, but just wanted to provide a pool resurfacing update. This was after like the first week they had gotten almost, they had gotten a significant portion of the surface already removed from the pool. You can actually see during the day, they started putting up some of the other tile, so they definitely made a lot of progress.
I'm gonna stop you right there, because I have another update about the pool. So all the tile around the sides is actually done, you can actually go look at it right now if you want to, it's really nice. However, we did run into kind of a worst case scenario, with the pool over the month, so, good news is we got it figured out, but, bad news is it's gonna cost a little bit extra money, so basically what happened was they got to chipping the pool, and, it was my understanding that that pool had never had a resurface before, and I think it's all of your understandings the same way. Well, once they got to chipping, they found out that the pool had been resurfaced, or at least attempted to be resurfaced in some spots, and it was delaminating in most of those areas. So most of the time what they can do is they can go chip out certain portions of your surface and kind of, go over top with the bonding agent. In this case, they had to come back to us with a change order and say, hey, we can't continue, we want to do this the right way, we don't want you guys to run into any issues in the future. So they actually had to chip out the entirety of the gutter and the entirety of your pool surface. So we actually got 2 quotes, one for the surface and one for the gutter that we were able to get an emergency approval outside of the meeting for. We didn't want to delay the project. The gutter alone was $6,000, and then the pool surface was another $8,900. So we got those going. We're currently working with Bennett on getting an addendum to the contract for that, which, he'll sign, and we'll bring it back to January meeting for ratification at that point. But wanted to keep you updated. Bad news is it had to be done. Good news is we're getting it done the right way this time, and you guys won't have to face these issues, in 20 years when you're looking for another resurface.
Timeline, is it still putting us on track for?
Yeah, we got it done quick enough, where we're still on pace, and our relationship with Vermont, pretty much, they just went ahead and started doing it once we got the verbal approval. So we're just waiting on that contract to finalize everything, and we'll go ahead and get that going here by the end of this week. But that was all I had on the pool, sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're fine, that was definitely related. And then we have, so the umbrellas that we had from the August meeting, were ordered and they have been delivered, so that'll go in after the whole resurfacing is completed.
We never got to talk about the umbrellas.
What?
No, they were on your list of items to discuss, and then I think we sent you back to the drawing board, and then we came back with like 2 options, and then the meeting was like 3 or 4 hours, and then I was like, we didn't talk about the umbrellas. And you were like, oh yeah, so, someone made a decision.
Yeah, I think it was the meeting that you missed that they approved that for, actually. Yeah, they approved it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got approved.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I remember it being approved,
Yeah.
but, I can definitely go back in minutes and make
No,
sure.
no, I was just, but, just wanted to make sure.
I think they did get approved.
Understandable, yeah. So we have the umbrellas, and then the holiday backdrops that are set out here are for the month, but also before the event that we have on the 21st. We also wanted to talk about internet and phone providers, we have that here. I did get to talk to Spectrum. So basically, we would keep all of what we have now and return the 2 TV boxes that we have. They'll go from $340.71 to $219.96. That's phone, internet, 5 static IP. Now Frontier has the same that we need to run everything. The phone, 5 static IP, the internet, and all of that is $230 with auto pay. So,
And we have 5 gig now with Spectrum.
yes. Yes. I want to say it's up to 2,000 megabits per second as far as the internet speed goes, but yes.
And so do you all need a motion for us to approve returning the TV boxes and?
I honestly think we could probably just take staff direction on that. I think we were leaning towards just doing that anyways. So, if you guys just want to give us direction to return those 2 TV boxes, and we'll bring this price down tomorrow.
Direction, we got it.
Thank you for following through on that.
No problem. Now, we.
Just real quick, Glenn is kind of texting me on the side here. He is actually requesting for that specific thing to be tabled till next month. The internet.
The internet phone?
Yeah.
But we can return the TV boxes, right?
We can at least return the TV boxes and get the lower price right now for the next month. And then if we can bring this up at the next month's meeting to try to see exactly what we want to do moving forward from there.
Okay.
Yeah, if we change vendors, we have to get the boxes back anyways.
No, it's TV.
No, it's just the TV.
They
box.
don't use the TV, right?
No,
It's just wasted
Well,
time.
we-
Yeah, but if we change the Frontier, we're still gonna have to get the boxes that we
Oh,
currently
okay,
have back.
right,
Yeah.
right,
They're just
right.
ahead of
I got it.
Yeah, that works. Okay.
On your foot.
So we'll go ahead and move with that, and we'll add to the next month's agenda, discussion of internet services.
And then, I don't know if this is something we'll decide on tonight, just if, we're talking about internet phone, but the pickleball, conversion for the tennis court. Now, from my understanding, it's not a full conversion, this is just to add the lines to the tennis court. There's gonna be 2 options.
Can I ask, where did this come from?
Yes, this was a board member request outside of the meeting. So just bringing this up for pricing really, I guess it was some residents had requested pickleball courts. And instead of converting a whole tennis court, we decided to take quotes to just put pink lines for the pickleball court, on the tennis court lines you have, so it can be dual purpose. You can play tennis and pickleball on the same court. I mean, not at the same time, but, you know, you can make that changes. So I don't think this is anything that we brought to you guys to approve. I think this is something we brought to you guys to explore and for pricing. So in the future, if you guys wanted to explore something like this, at least you have a base price. Now, I mean, if you wait 6 months to a year, obviously, I think we can assume that those prices are gonna raise. But at least you guys have a base price of what it would cost if you guys wanted to make that type of change.
And I guess, I don't know, because I don't play pickleball, but the quote includes nets. Are the nets different?
Yes, for sure.
So
So,
it's also, it's because the pickleball court is smaller than the tennis court, so what I was gonna say is there's 2 options. You can either paint the lines for one pickleball court on top of one tennis court, or you can use each side of one tennis court for 2 pickleball courts, and that's where the temporary nets will come in. Because you would need the nets, because it would be sideways instead of like across the tennis court.
So each side of the tennis court would essentially be its own pickleball court.
Yes, and so you need the temporary nets for that. So that's, and then you also have an additional quote, which we'll bring to the next meeting so that everybody can view, but for Stuart tennis as well.
It's purely informational here. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need to approve anything.
Yeah, but we have a pickleball coach, don't we? That's not under our, like, is he still giving lessons and stuff? Or-
So my understanding, yeah, we have his insurance and he's open to doing lessons.
He's never mentioned anything with the lines, just wondering, like.
He hasn't mentioned it. I think that they've usually just used the tennis court and tried to
Make it.
make it up themselves, for lack of a better.
Yeah, it's not that big of a
term.
difference in height.
It's like, I think it's like 60 versus 40, like it's not that much of a difference, but it's enough. Like, there are quite a few residents, I will say, like almost at least every week that I've seen playing pickleball outside, in the evening especially, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a very popular thing among a lot of other communities too.
Yeah.
Putting in whole new pickleball courts, updating the existing tennis courts, adding lines, every kind of little situation you can see, so.
Yeah, there's actually like a bunch of, Florida grants, like state funding and stuff for football courts, you already know about that?
Yeah, I didn't push it, yeah, they're doing all sorts of things.
It's the fastest growing sport in the nation right now.
Yeah, so, but I don't think we'd be able to take advantage of something like that because we're on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tax dollars.
It's not like,
Do we want to table this for the next meeting and try to figure out based on the two different prices here of which way we want to go?
Yeah,
Definitely would be. So just to explain, it's basically $1,500 for the one tennis court. Yeah, oh, one on each side, so,
Yeah, that was for two, it's 1,200
Mhm.
for one.
so you have 1,500 plus the 3,000, that includes like the portable net, so that total is 4,500 for one on each side of the tennis court. If you're just doing one, it's the 1,200 that's at the bottom, one on top of the one tennis court.
So how would the portable nets work? I mean,
We
do
would
they
have-
sit out there all the
No,
time, or?
We would make them rentable. They'd have to be rentable at that point.
Okay, so that would just be a function of.
Yeah, and they would only be available for the times that we're here, so it really kind of limits the use of the pickleball court if you guys choose to go that way.
Yeah,
So if I was gonna make a suggestion, I would say paint the lines on the tennis court as is and just have them use the higher net. Unfortunately, we did the best we could,
yeah.
and this is what we're gonna have to deal with here, so.
Have you all had another community that has used either one of these vendors?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, I'm just curious because both of them say they're not responsible for damage, and the one, I think it said they had to be able to flood the court with water, so I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
imagine
what they-
our water bill
that's
is also gonna be
standard,
really high, but.
Yeah, anytime you get, I'm sorry?
Are we supposed to do water at the tennis court?
No, no. So basically what they do that for is to make sure that they don't have any low spots in the surface and it's not holding any water.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why they would flood the courts is for that reason.
I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it's not just the quote, there are additional things that could come up, like
Absolutely.
damage or water, increased water bill.
And to be completely honest with you guys, we got through these pretty quickly just to kind of get you guys a number. If you guys really wanted us to look into this, we would probably get you some better information and some better quotes on this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, it's obviously really popular, so I'm not necessarily in favor of closing the tennis courts while the pool and the playground are closed. I mean, I feel like we're closing all of our amenities, so I don't know that this is like a real high priority before probably February, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it would be good to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're kind of at that point where we all want kind of a lot of things to get done here in the next year. And I know over the last couple of months, we've spent some money on some big projects. So it might be a good idea to also have like a prioritizing type of meeting. Like, what do we want to get done this year? What can we wait till next year? Just so that we can make sure that we're in a good position for the next fiscal year.
Yeah, and then once we get past these like essential mandated projects that we really didn't want to do in the first place, and they're super expensive, then maybe we can start sending out like a poll or something for, some fun project ideas. And see what residents want. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, the pool just cost us another 15 grand that I don't know where we're pulling that from, but, we also have the playground coming up, and I wouldn't expect there to be an extra expense, but I think we probably should just wait until those major things are done to make sure that we don't have any other surprise $15,000 bills.
So we can do that for them in the February agenda.
Yeah,
It's okay with that.
that'd be great.
So, as far as the future updates, we'll also be working on repairing the pool chairs once the resurfacing is done, getting the roads out there, all that good stuff. Also want to bring up events that we have for the next couple of months at Divas for the next couple of months.
Real quick, before you move on from that, did we already approve the, pool chair repairs?
We do not, that will be a proposal that we would bring.
Okay.
Mhm.
It was just written in there like it was done, so.
No, it's not done.
Okay, so you'll bring that up,
Future.
okay, got it.
So we'd also need a little bit of direction, because obviously the pool chairs as they are right now is a little bit more dated. So if you guys wanted an updated fabric or something, we would pick those quotes, but if you wanted the same thing, we would take that direction. So if you guys have an idea of what you guys want out there, I do have, from a vendor that we use quite often, I do have a lot of samples with a lot of colors, all that I can bring to the next meeting, just to kind of help us out on that.
I think, I don't know what line item in the budget we pulled that from, and I have no idea what cost we're looking at, but, I think I would love to update them, but I don't know that we're gonna have.
I'll get
money to
you
do
a
that
number.
this year.
I'll get you a number.
I would like to consider approach like the bollards, like where we're replacing, maybe we have replaced, upgrade them, I don't know what that looks like financially, but so we have maybe less quantity, because I've never seen them all full, and then we could still like re-sleeve some of them and have them on standby, and they meant that we need like extra chases or something, so maybe a combination of the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we, actually have the amenity staff count, I think there was maybe like 10 slats in total that need to be replaced, so that's more so, I think, what we would be looking at.
Okay.
If you wanted to do that, or for replacement, or we can always get the numbers.
Yeah, I think it's hard to give you direction without knowing like where we're pulling this from in the budget and then about what the cost is gonna be.
Yeah.
I'd love to say, yeah, let's get a quote for replacing them, but my feeling is there's no way we have money for that, so
Well, and
I hate to have you spending those.
Not the quality, but the quantity of them. So if we have, say, 30 chairs out there, it gets packed in summertime, but we're gonna need every single chair and lounge space available. That's one thing, we're just refreshing them up, power washing them, putting new fabric on them,
Yeah,
compared to getting brand new chairs.
yeah.
I think that's where Brian might advocate, just come
Yeah.
back and say, here's quotes for brand new chairs versus clean them up, getting new fabric. and maybe-
The difference between reslinging and brand new stuff is astronomical. It's almost like 3 times. So, I mean, to refurnish the entirety of your pool deck, you're looking at $25,000, if not more. Reslinging for what you have, if I remember correctly, I want to say you guys have just over 30 loungers.
And it's not like all of them are in bad shape, it's just
50, you guys have about 50. Don't quote me on this, don't hold me to this, but the number that I would give is probably around $8,000 to resling.
And to Daniel's point, everything doesn't need reslung, right?
Right, no, we would only, I would do an evaluation on it, and then we would only go for the ones that absolutely need it at this time. And then we can, next year, update the ones that didn't get updated this year.
Yeah, that might be helpful for the next, whenever we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
this next,
absolutely.
is how many do we absolutely need to repair? How many do we have total, how many are in that medium?
So is that something you guys want to have on January's agenda, or do we want to maybe push this a little bit further after the pool's finished and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, how long does it take to do those? Could we do it, could we talk
Depends
about
on-
it in February and have it done?
I wouldn't advise so. I mean, so basically, it also depends on the vendor that you use, right? So we do have a vendor that provides loaners. So they'll take your chairs, but also provide you with chairs for the time that your chairs are gone. Now, once your chairs are gone, it's about a 3-month turnaround time.
Really?
It's a really long turnaround time. So, if you choose that vendor, you're set. You have loaners, you can use those. I'm not confident that any of the other vendors that we use has that same program.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to talk about this in
Yeah.
January,
Also, just thinking about like, spring break, because we have school, a lot of the teenagers, families that all attend school, so just having everything nice and new, or, at least refurbished to, good condition. Okay, cool. Any other comment, questions, comments? Okay. So, for January, I was thinking of doing something like, one of the buzzwords, new year, new me, kind of like getting into the new year, doing a couple of different like workshops, a lot of different things for the community that we haven't seen. I know like a volleyball tournament, we tried to do that in the summer, it was just too hot for that. So I think with the colder weather, that would be really nice, and be a good start to the year, to for the kids go back to school as well. The yoga instructor is offering a class for meditation, intention setting, and he also does Reiki. To my understanding, it's a spiritual practice that he does, and this would be a donation-based class. So instead of having the typical $20 cost, this would be, you choose your price, essentially. The vision board workshop is something that I would facilitate. We have like a YouTube video to kind of go along with it and be able to provide all the materials, like printable magazines, we have glue, they just have to bring, the residents will just have to bring their own poster board. And then the Wednesday walking with a purpose, kind of get people out to the amenity center, and that'd be 2 times in a day, just for the different schedules that everybody has. And then coffee and hot chocolate in the house on Monday in the clubhouse. So that's kind of a good start to the year. Something that I did want to bring up from Thanksgiving, there was a turkey trot that the residents had put together. And they had brought up the idea, a couple of the residents that did participate brought up the idea of doing a bunny trot for March, April, around Easter time. I don't know what we would need for that as far as legal counsel and.
Yeah, so they did bring this up to us about a week prior to Thanksgiving. Very, very short notice, and my main concern is that it is a CDD event, and we're allowing them to walk on county roadway. God forbid something happens. The CDD is kind of open to a little bit of liability there. Now, I did talk to Bennett about it. He said that he would look into it. I don't think he's actually gotten very far through that process quite yet. But if that's something the board's interested in sponsoring through the CDD, I would ask for a little bit of time to get with Bennett and insurance just to make sure that we're covered there.
Just a point of clarification, what's the scope of the event? Why is it in the county road?
Well, it's a sidewalks along the county roadway, Jared. My feeling would be that, we have a walking trail here. If we wanted to do something where they just kind of do laps, I think that's probably gonna be easier for the CDD to kind of sponsor. But if you guys wanted to sponsor it where it's going down to 3 Lakes Boulevard, I think that just brings a couple more things into play that we really, I can personally tell you, I don't know too much about, so I'd have to look into it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'll come back. So we did, and I'm gonna, I help traffic and stuff like that, but we kept on sidewalk, on Greer. I was down at the front crossing, everybody got crossed, sitting there, everybody was, everything that we done that way. We need to use my procedure, second window, or.
Yep, sorry, Glenn, I think it was, Glenn, it was okay there for at first for a second, and
I think I know what he was telling us anyway. So on the day of the turkey trot himself and I think another gentleman, part of your community, got on their golf carts and were kind of stationed down at the ends here near the entrances and kind of making sure that traffic didn't hit them. I think that's the story. Glenn, is that correct? He's texting me.
Yeah, I thought about that.
He said spot on. Yeah, so that's what he's saying. So.
That was mostly like me. Quick question for you, did you guys have to get any sort of county permit or anything in order to use the sidewalk?
Jared, we didn't even get that far. It happened, they reached out to us a week before they wanted to do it, I think maybe even 2 weeks. And after speaking with Bennett, it's just what we told them was we needed more time to make this work. We needed to get approval from the CDD board, and we needed to check with insurance liability and stuff. So we didn't really get far into that process.
It was completely
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me that we do have some immunity, we've got insurance, so I think it's something we can do. I know with the county right of way thing, I think we want to touch base with the county people and just make sure they don't need 6 months, but I don't see how that saying an act that can't happen, they can, just have to be aware of that.
Great, okay.
I mean, is it possible for them to sign a waiver that says you're waiving liability if you run out into the street and get hit by a car? I mean,
That's a Jared question.
They can sign if it isn't enforceable.
I mean, you can get folks to, when they sign up or whatever for the run, to sign waivers and things, those have varying degrees of success in terms of the percent, but I think doing the waivers, everything your manager said is right, there's potential liability, but you check in with your insurance carrier, you've got sovereign immunity, get waivers, and then, check in with the county, I think it's, something that can be done.
I don't think it'd be
Yeah, we got time, thankfully, we got time this time to figure it out.
We'll figure it out
So-
and get it, all the details worked out if we're gonna do that.
I mean, I like the idea, and the turkey trot is obviously very popular. A lot of places will do a Christmas, I mean, you can do them for a lot of different seasons. So I think it's an inexpensive thing, the community really seemed to enjoy it. So, yeah, I'd like the idea of it.
Yeah, we'll look into it, I'll get with the insurance carrier, and, the county, and see what we can figure out for the next meeting.
And then I thought something that would be fun is if we do end up doing a pickleball court, or even if not, because I know we'll still play pickleball on the tennis court, is having a pickleball tournament around March Madness. I know it's basketball, but I think it would be fun to do during that time. We'll still do an Easter egg hunt as well in April, and that will be the date before Easter. I think would be a good day, but we can always kind of figure out the best day for it. We'll have a food truck, and figure out the logistics of that. I think that is everything as far as events so far. Do you guys have any recommendations that maybe could fund residents, or any ideas that you guys have as far as programs? I know that we are going to be sending out an event survey with asking recommendations, ideas from residents and things like that. Was there anything that you guys have noticed, talking about?
No, I like your ideas, and I like, that you're changing it up, different ideas, fresh ideas, and relevant ideas, so.
Yeah, and it looks like you have a number of different times on the survey, or I think you've surveyed people before, have people give, as a community, given times that work for them?
So,
Tried a number of different things.
yeah, I know for classes like yoga specifically, I know that like a 10 a.m., like a really morning class, like a 9 a.m. class was preferable. And then as far as like times, anytime like after 5 o'clock, usually kind of towards the weekends, like Fridays, that's why we found those events happening Thursday or Friday is usually the best, just with like school schedule, for a lot of people, and just the end of the week. So usually after 5 o'clock, I find is the best for most people, but still trying to keep it, to see if variety works, what times work best, so. But yeah, I think especially for like weekend ones, we've been trying to keep it midday so that, so we can include everybody there. But, we'll put out that survey, I'm trying to get it out before the end of the month, so we can have it for the beginning of the year and see if that gives us a little better direction on time, day, things like that. Just more updated on that.
One thing to add to, just looking at your email blast system, I'm assuming there's more than 816 residents in this community. That's the total amount of contacts we have in your constant contact email blast system. So if there's residents who are saying they aren't receiving the emails, would like to, please have them come on down, and sign up for this. We can even go as far as creating a landing page and sending that out to whoever for them to post on their social media platforms. So people can just go sign up themselves, they don't have to come here,
That
but
would be great.
I would really encourage people to start utilizing that as a way of communication with us. So
Yeah,
we'll set that up, though. We'll get that landing page set up and we'll send it out to you guys.
anytime somebody says that they're not getting something, I know I've seen Glenn, I've seen Regan, I've done it, we're always directing them to either stop by the clubhouse or contact Alan, so hopefully people are updating their info. But yeah, the landing page would be great, and
Yeah,
we
no
get that
problem.
posted to Facebook.
Perfect, that would be great. And then we just have resident recommendations, haven't had much, just with not many people coming by the clubhouse that I've heard recently, but this is just from a couple months ago, our exercise path. I don't have any future projects or recommendations, that would be the end of my report. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Comments is that a few years ago, I tried to look into getting like that outdoor exercise equipment, and it's super expensive,
Yeah.
Super expensive, very hard to maintain,
Yeah.
very hard to find anybody that can fix it or replace it, or, We try to do it at Belmont too, and I'm still working, it's been 3 years, I'm still working on trying to find a reputable vendor to help us with that.
Are there any options for, I don't really even know what I'm asking, but like, I mean, I see people walk and they'll do like push-ups against a bar or something. I mean, could we put just a metal bar out there where someone, if they are on the walking path, they can just do, you know, push-ups, or I don't know, is there other equipment that would be?
So basically, all that outdoor equipment that we were just referencing is self-propelled. So it has that same premise where you're doing your push-ups, or they have those bars, but you're kind of just lifting your body weight.
Okay.
Right, incline. We can look into some options, but it's still just
It's still
expensive.
very
Those little bars, yeah, I know it sounds like
Yeah.
nothing, but it's really expensive.
Okay.
Use the community, like the benches along the boulevard for like
Yeah.
push-ups. You
Yeah.
know, but then if they were doing that over here, you probably be like, stop doing that, that's not good.
Okay.
No, that is everything. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Thank you, Pam. We do have on here discussion of parking at the amenities center.
Yes. So we had a little bit of an unusual situation here where there was a vehicle that was parked here for a number of days. We ended up putting a sticker on it because you guys do have that tow sign out there saying towaway zone. Come to find out that your towing contractor, Steps, actually does not service CDDs or HOAs anymore and haven't done so for the past year and a half. So you guys haven't had a towing agreement for that one, at least that long. And then looking into it further, you guys don't have any towing policies either. So I spoke with Bennett already. There's actually gonna be a couple policies that we're gonna be bringing to you guys next month. We're gonna have to go through the chapter 120 rulemaking laws. So next month you should see that on your agenda. But pretty much what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be creating a towing policy. Also, we're gonna be creating a policy pertaining to your access system, and required photos for the profiles. But just expect that at the next meeting. We'll also bring an agreement from another, tow company that's willing to service this area as well.
Brian, can we get, I guess, 2 or 3 towing vendors in the area?
We can certainly try. Obviously, Steps is no longer in the picture, can't do them, so I'll be contacting 813 Towing, which I believe
There's
services
several
out here.
there, I can get with you.
Okay, yeah, that works. If you know a few.
There's several reputable ones, so.
Okay, great.
I'd like to ask that since Jared's on the phone, if we're having to look at the, you know, towing enforcement and developing a policy, not specific to the amenity center, but there have been situations where people, I don't know if it was residents or not, but they park on like vacant lots that belong to the CDD, you know, sometimes like instead of on the street.
We can include those into the map.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
been-
And if they're CBD owned, it will all be covered under this towing agreement. So, I'll make sure that I get with Tom and obviously Daniel to get the towing companies, but we'll create a map of towable areas for the CBD, and that towing company will have to abide by that. Now, one thing that we're gonna have to decide whether it's a patrol type service or it's only when we call it. Now, if it's patrol, they're just gonna tow those cars that you see at those utility spots whenever they see them. Or they have to wait until someone notices and we got a call, so just keep that in mind.
And, the past clubhouse manager would say that he had to meet the tow truck driver at the location where the vehicle was and stand there and wait until they arrived. Is that true?
It depends on the vendor. It really does. We have a good enough relationship with Target Towing down in Hillsborough that they don't require that from us. However, there's some that will absolutely say that we need to be on site for them. So we'll avoid that at all costs. You know, no one wants to be there while someone's car is being towed. It's just
Yeah.
something we shouldn't have to do. So we'll bring that to the next meeting and let you know what we find.
Great. Thank you. Did not know that we did that.
You wasn't completely wrong there. Yeah, I've had to go through that process.
Any other questions concerning the parking towing situation? Alright. So moving right along here, we talked about tennis courts and all that, so we do have that out, for the future meeting. And then,
Just, sorry, one
Yeah.
thing, still regarding the towing. I did speak to another board member who said that permit parking, overnight permit parking would be something that you guys are interested in. They can park here overnight if they ask us first and get a permit for that night. Is that something you guys want us to include in that policy as well? Just so we get, quote unquote, agreement.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
people have been able to do that, and if they're not allowed, I would much rather have them get permission and park here than park on the streets where they're not supposed to, like walking.
And then,
Yeah.
those opens us up into the insurance liability side, the park on the street, kind of like a car. then it's.
Or you mean in the parking lot? Then,
Well, anywhere, CB, so parking lot, down the
can't do
boulevard.
anything off the streets, go down the boulevard, that's true. I mean, I think it's like being a good neighbor that they're trying to, you know, where they have too many cars, or what if it's, they're trying not to park in the street, or have a big box truck or something.
That's kind of what happened with the situation I was telling you about. We had I spoke to the lady that got the towing sticker on her car, and that's exactly what it was. She said, I thought I was doing the right thing, the HOA doesn't want us parking in the street, I came down here and parked here. And, you know, she was very nice, she was very nice about it. She said she has more cars than what she can handle, she has a couple 16, 17-year-olds at the house. So that's exactly what we're trying to kind of accommodate, but we just want to make sure that you guys are covered liability-wise.
Okay, yeah, the permit would include
Yeah.
some kind of a waiver.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, permit would go.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing we also need to consider is if we're gonna be doing events here, having them get permits is a good way to be able to control, I mean, I don't think it happens that often, so maybe it's not a big deal, but we have had situations where we have multiple events going on here, plus the CDD meeting, and we didn't have enough parking, so just hopefully doing the permitting would prevent that from happening
We could also limit permits, you know,
Yeah.
as well, you know, only 5 permits can be valid at one given time, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, moving on, we have the table, tennis and pickleball court tabled. So district manager, I do have one thing here from Jason, so there was an insurance issue, car accident. And, there was discussion, I guess, about the,
I can take this, Rich, if you want.
yeah.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
You know more about it than I do, I haven't emailed her, so
Okay.
I
So-
can jump in with this right here, so,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
want to offer a cashier's check rather than go to
It's
insurance.
Correct.
either, yeah, it's either we go through insurance or he wants to pay us directly with a cashier, well, we would require a cashier
Yes.
check. We did reach out to insurance to see if that was acceptable for them, they said absolutely, we would recommend that you get a cashier's check. My understanding is that the dad of the person who crashed reached out in, with interest of just paying us directly rather than going through insurance. So if you guys are okay with that, we'd be okay with that as well, just wanted to get your final decision.
Yeah, just the biggest thing is just, we would obviously confirm to make sure that the full damage amount
Was included.
was included, and then that's what would require from them to pay.
Is that already?
Can they prefer a release of all?
That, yeah, we could have a release, that was gonna be my question to you, Jer, if there's anything that we need to get signed for that, so.
Okay. We can coordinate offline,
Got it.
and then bring it back to the next board meeting, does that work with it?
I think so, yeah.
Or do you want to take action on it today?
We
can
can,
take action on it
yeah, if we
today.
get to do a motion today, and then,
Yeah.
we can put that in there and get this, get this going before
He
you
changes his mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How much is the damage?
As of right now,
$3,400.
$3,400.
Okay, so let's say make a motion to, settle the car accident claim or car accident claim what kind of damage was done?
Landscape damage, it was just basically a tree, yeah, a tree got knocked over and some shrubbery. It was fixed the very next day almost, yeah. Now, Jared, do you think it's a good idea to set almost an NTE here, just in case there's more damage that may come up?
Yeah, I think that's right. I just wanted to give myself a sense, and also the board a sense of the amount more than anything, but I think the release would be, I'll let staff to prepare the necessary documents and have the chair execute, a settlement release, payment for the, actual cost of the landscape and other damage caused by the car accident. That's kind of the motion. And then the amount, is approximately $3,400. And if it's materially different, we'll come back and, bring the motion back.
Okay.
Does that work?
So,
For the parameter on it?
So Brian, real quick, do you want?
yeah, so just kind of text with Glenn and talking to Tom here. Glenn asked what happens if the tree dies, and just quickly asked Tom here, like, what's the state of the tree? At this point, we're like in a waiting game to see if it's gonna survive through the trauma or not. So the cost of a tree, you know, we might wanna add to that MPE amount, just in
Well,
case.
and I was thinking, isn't there a reflector on the end cap of the island there?
Believe so.
Plus whatever irrigation that, where the park is?
Well, that's all
That's all part of the 3,400.
part of it, so irrigation, the pine bark, the gold mound, crepe myrtle, stump grinding, and the tree.
But I think it's like,
All part of it.
like a 3 foot or a 4 foot reflector sign that should be
Yeah.
there.
Is that a county sign?
That's, I don't think it's provided by the county.
So 2 trees were hit, one was
Oh, they were
damaged,
falling.
and one was replaced? I'm confused.
No, one tree
Why
is,
don't we do-
Why don't we say it's, approximately $3,400 plus or minus $1,000, that works?
there you go, that works. So one tree was hit and fell over. That tree was put back up. On top of that, there was a couple of plants that.
So
There you go. He's gonna show you the
the
picture.
3,400 includes replacement of the tree that fell
That's
over.
what I'm saying, I must have said that it included the 3,400
To make
included
it
the
make
tree.
it brand.
That was the photo.
Brian, can we get, and you guys are dealing with that on the side, get the copy of the insurance, or not the insurance, but the copy of the traffic track report?
Yeah,
Through that as well?
we actually do have it. Insurance was able to pull it before the county was able to provide it. So we have it, so we'll be able to include that as well.
Okay.
So the 3,400 includes replacement of that tree? Or no?
It doesn't say, it says removal if needed.
Yeah, so it's just quoting the removal of the tree and the stump grinding if necessary.
I think we're just trying to see if it survives or not.
So how long do we wait for that?
I'll reach out to Mike, and then I can get an
That's so
answer.
much money for driving over some bushes, like pushing a tree over. I don't know, 3,400 seems like egregious, if they're not even replacing the trees, you know? It's not like they're like cementing the curb or something, it isn't the monument, it seems expensive, but if we're gonna also add the tree, you know, but.
Well, we don't know that yet, but, you know, if that happens, obviously, we want you guys to get the money, but it wasn't your fault that happened, it wasn't due to neglect at all, so this was happened, you know, due to a car accident, and we wanna make sure that you guys get reimbursed for the money that you're paying out for it.
Yeah, I'm just curious on the tree. I mean, are we waiting a month, are we waiting a year? I mean, what happens?
Honestly, I think it's 30 to 45 days, right? Typically, it should be around 30 to 45 days that you kind of see what's gonna happen with it. We're almost at that
I was
point
gonna
anyway.
say, yeah.
So I think if we set an NTE of 4,500, I can't imagine that tree is more than that. It could be, maybe 5,000 just to be safe. And then if we do incur extra charges, we can add that charge on top of the 3,400 that they're already looking to pay.
Well, to be clear, the amount we're saying is sort of a floor, right? We want more than the amount if we can't get it.
Right.
Right, so it'd be more than 2,500, or more than 3,400.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, I get what you're
Something like
saying.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we get a final proposal from whoever, the landscape contractor or whatever, it may be more than 3,400, I'm sure it's not gonna be less.
So it's instead of an NTE, it would be not to go under, or not to be
Yeah,
under.
people
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I don't know, I just have empathy for the situation because it's not a commercial business, you know, then it's somebody's teenage driver and they're probably already enduring a lot of other related consequences, so I don't want to be heavy-handed.
Like you were saying, absolutely, bless you.
That's,
Do we have a report from Cardinal of what they're replacing? Or what they're doing? Is that somewhere? I don't see it in the packet.
Yeah, I can get it over to you.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
I just have
for us to see.
an estimate.
The other thing we could do is, if there's not a ton of urgency, of a pretty nice schedule, or just check now, so it's pretty nice. If you can come back and, see what the amount is from the contractor, I mean, you already have a firm amount, or do you need to give another?
Yeah, we need to give it another
It's
30,
something a little bit of a moving target.
Yeah, it kind of is at the moment, so I think actually that's a good idea, Jared. If we kind of hold this to next meeting, and then once we have that final bit of information, you guys can make a more educated decision on that.
Yeah, and if
Okay,
we
and
could-
then maybe let the driver know that we're super interested, in talking with him, we're getting that for the damage, and we have that, we'll give it to them, and they can pay us or something, or we'll take it to a board person, and we'll write it out.
Got it.
And if we can have that, final estimate from Cardinal in our packet, that would be helpful.
I would tell you, too, you're probably better off settling with the driver and drawing the insurance company, so that, yeah.
Yeah, they probably get lawyers involved or something.
Okay, great. Well, when we have some direction for that, we'll work on getting that full proposal, full dollar amount, and discuss with council what type of waiver we need and that sort of thing, and then have that for the next meeting. For review.
Yeah, and we'll try to stay out as much as possible, because there's not much money at stake, but we've got a form release to get you, EMS in front of us there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All righty. Okay, so, next item here, I don't have anything else from Jason at the time, if you, of course, reach out, he is available, so just shoot me an email, phone call, let me know, take it back to him. Okay. So next we do have financial reports, so you will see your check register, the balance sheets, financial statements. If you have any questions, please let me know, I can look into those and get that back to you. I didn't receive anything before you, but if there is, of course, we're happy to explain it and or answer. If not, we're just looking for a motion to approve.
I had reached out to Patty, and I don't believe I've received a response.
Okay.
We had a general maintenance, invoice from GMS. It was only $400-something, but there was no invoice for it. It was just in the check register, but we
Okay.
didn't have the invoice, and I would like to see what it was that we were charged for.
Sure. Okay, so no invoice backup for that charge. Is it in, how much was it for?
$450, she said.
I think I can,
$450, so it's on page 58 at the top there. The 450 is the emergency treatment pool.
it's
465.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was on 11/6. Okay. I gotta know that we'll be able to support that. Thanks for that. Okay. Any other questions or comments concerning the check register and financials?
Other than-
No? Okay. So we just be looking for a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a first from Janelle, second from Regan. All in favor? All right. Next items here is the supervisor present, audience comments. And we'll open this, we have two, it says audience comments specific to the agenda and general audience comments, but we'll just go ahead and just do general audience comments. So if there's any general audience comments at this time, please just raise your hand, state your name and address for the record. We just
Don
ask
Murphy.
to limit
Don
to
Murphy,
3
Cherokee
minutes.
Rose. I was just gonna say, since the subject of the Cardinal contract came up earlier, and there's probably some public interest in that, instead of just providing it to the board members, would you at least consider putting that on the website for the community to be able to view as well?
What do you want to do?
The contract?
The Cardinal contract, yeah.
Should be on the website if it's not already.
Okay.
Didn't
Yeah.
they have access?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
I know the board had asked for it, so I thought if it was on the website, they would have accessed it through that.
Well, the board usually, yeah, they usually ask us to provide them stuff, and we just provide it to them, so it's a little bit different, but, I'll check on that.
Okay, and second, I had a question about the monument at the Aaron Cutoff entrance, and I know you're talking about the new FDOT requirements. Has there been any evaluation of whether or not that is actually having a setback off of Aaron Cutoff? Because the sight lines on the side of that are not very good, and I know pedestrians coming across there have to like pretty much play Frogger with the cars. And so there's no actual crosswalk that's been stamped, and I know that the sight lines aren't very good, so I don't know if there's been an evaluation.
I don't know what's the address or what's the cross
It
test.
was
Right outside.
the main entrance on Aaron and Dupree Lake Boulevard.
It's terrifying when you walk across that street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get with our head of field and see what he can do about it, looking into that, make sure it's in compliance.
Thank you.
Don, what are you looking for, like that, or just line of sight, or?
Oh, I'm wondering, because what I understand is that there's new requirements for the boulevard because it's been designated as a state through road or something along those lines, but I'm thinking that if that were constructed today, that would not meet state approval, that monument probably would need to be pushed back a good 5 or 10 feet.
The whole monument, okay.
And there's also no crosswalk there whatsoever. There's, the sidewalks come to the road as where there should be a crosswalk, but there's nothing there. So you have to walk across the road, through the gore area, and then back out into a blind spot where cars are coming on.
Where's the non-crosswalk?
Right up here.
Aaron Cutoff on the
When you
boulevard.
come to the stop sign, there's no crosswalk across there, you just have a painted door in the island, and then two travel lanes either way.
I know Jason knows, like, he tried to get them to add, the county to add more crosswalks the last time that the boulevard was paved. And we got, somehow they managed, I think they did add a crosswalk that we didn't ask for or something like that on, by the reserves, possibly. If Jason was here, he could say exactly. But yeah, I think it wasn't something that was within our control, but like you said, maybe now that the road's been reclassified, we might have some more.
Reach out to the county and see
Yeah.
if they can address it.
Yeah, that would be something that Bennett was working on, the reclassification, so any like crosswalk, and line of sight compliance obligations that we might have now, we might wanna do like an audit.
And especially for the crosswalk, we would still have to be ADA accessible and all that, and limited width and all that. Like Don's point, if we have to see measurement wise from the engineer, how much distance we have from the road coming in, and if we would have space for a crosswalk, things like that.
Right. And it could be like grandfathered in because it's already been around for so
Yeah.
long.
I would think some things like that are grandfathered in, because they take that into account, but we can obviously discuss it.
And historically, the reason they didn't have more crosswalks on a couple of them is because the median actually extends out, and you'd have to redesign the.
Oh, I see.
So there was
Yeah,
like a
walk out
$20,000
Aaron
for
Cutoff
intersection
and
to-
across the road.
But
Great, thank you. Any other audience comments? Yep, just state your name and address, please.
Carrie Zimmerman, 5844 Sweet William Terrace. I have a couple things. You were saying that, Cardinal already cleaned up from the debris. If you go on the common area behind Sweet William, there's still branches and stuff, and they mow around it.
Can you, send us either a picture or like an address of where we can track them?
Yeah.
Do you know an address
What was the
now?
address?
Now,
Okay.
I'm 5844 Sweet William, and it's down past my house.
Okay, yeah, if you can just send that, you could send it, like, if you go onto the CDD website and it shows the little pop-up box, you can send it there, or you can send it to me, my email is c2@dupree.cdd.
Okay.
Either way, and I'll make sure that Tom gets it.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I will, along those lines, like, I'm not to interfere with audience comments, but I've always wanted there to be some kind of like, you know, again, back to the whole audit concept, but somebody should be going through the buffer areas and like, you know, randomly measuring 5 feet and just kind of inspecting for those sort of things, and I understand it's a huge area, and so it could be divided up like, you know, once a quarter, or you do different phases, or,
Well, this is stuff still from the hurricane.
yeah, well,
And they've mowed.
it'll be covered in vines by the time they.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it'll be.
But then we'll have to pay to have it, you know, cleaned up, so.
And then I have three things. Second off, this may not be like totally with you, but the HOA signs, I never see them. You guys change the CDs signs, I see them, they're great.
Yeah, the
HOA
HOA
signs,
needs to follow
I'd like to see it
the volunteer.
on the blast every month.
Yeah, that would be
We
an
can't,
NHMA.
we can't do anything about the HOA, we're the
Okay.
CDD.
Come to the January meeting.
Okay, I will be here. Yeah, because by the time I found out this past month, the meeting, it was done and over.
Yeah.
January 14th,
That's gotta be.
6 p.m. It's the annual and the amendment.
Okay.
Sure, this is another meeting.
And then I have one final thing. I don't know if this is HOA or CDD, if it's on rail, say it, that means the parking on Sweet William is, there's multiple cars on the grass. People will have their driveway filled, 2 cars parked in the grass and then one across the end of the drive. It's insane.
Yeah, the street parking has been a humongous
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
For a really long time. And it's like, because the county owns the roads, there's been nothing we can do, like the HOA can't enforce it, the CDD can't get involved.
It's insane. Nick said, there's a lot of time the garbage truck, and I still have a picture of it, can't get through.
Right.
This is, but they're now parking on the grass.
On their own grass or on?
Yeah, on their grass.
I don't know
It's
if
on
there's
their own
anything we
grass,
can do
yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
like between the road and.
That's HOA.
That's
'cause-
it. Okay.
Actually, in front of the sidewalks now.
It is a
No,
county
she's selling
easement.
grass. You're
Yeah,
talking
on the
about,
grass between the sidewalk and the roads, not HOA.
Technically, that's
It's
a
not on your lawn.
county easement.
Go-
go
It's
look
like
at your-
if you
No,
were
they're
the
pulling up
sidewalk,
on the
and so the
lawn.
county could
Behind
issue
sidewalk.
tickets if they
Behind
were
sidewalk.
willing to
See,
come out.
yeah,
it's
That-
in front
of the sidewalk.
yeah, I know, but I'm saying they're pulling up. I've seen it, it's terrible, I walk over there.
Called for anyone parking on the boulevard.
Yeah.
No response, unfortunately, but if they're like parking on their own lawn, that could be something that's an issue.
Well, it's against the,
It's still do that.
Yeah.
Myself.
Thank you.
Any other audience comments?
so I just, my
Sorry, just
comment.
name and address.
I'm sorry, Kate Correa, 5830 Candy Tuft Place. I did talk to Janelle, and I don't know if it's been fixed or not, but the monument lights on the 2 front and back, they're, either the timer's off or they're wrong and they're on during the day and off at night. It's like, I don't know if it's been fixed or not, because it's the first time I'm out in the dark, but the lights on the monuments for the holidays are lovely. I don't understand why the towers didn't get lights. It looks like some people in the development have decorated themselves because all they got was a little wreath. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was
GMS did the decorating
for whatever lack.
Very limited budget for holiday.
Okay.
It was
It
only
was great, and
$3,400
Yeah, no,
for the entirety of the community.
I'm
so
not
we did
com-
the best we could with
Yeah,
what we had.
I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know people have gone and decorated it themselves because it was like, oh, I get a wreath, and some developments have colored light, 2 color lights, and some have whatever.
Yeah, we see a lot of our Jaeger developments spend close to $40,000 on Christmas lights a year, and that's what they get out of it. They get every single monument, they get every single tower, and I think GMS coming to was trying to provide a cost savings to the district, but if it's something next year that the residents want us to look into
So,
more in depth, we can
To
absolutely.
finish
do
my
that.
thought on that, sir, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
interrupt
no,
you.
that didn't mean anything.
I did come to Fallon and discuss, there are lighting options. I know we paid this company a ridiculous amount of money for these 2 monuments, but there are much better lighting options now, and I sent them to Fallon on Amazon, very inexpensive. And if you want to see samples of it, people have put them on their houses, on Candy Tuft, they're permanent lights. And they work on an app, and they're year-round, you can make them all different colors, and we just looked at a set tonight, it's on sale right now for $100 for 150 feet. And all the monuments have power, so that seems like a legitimate option as opposed to the $2,000 per monument that was quoted in previous meetings. So there's a way to do things cost effectively and nicely, and it doesn't have to look cheap and crappy because they're beautiful lights. Like I said, several of my neighbors have installed them. So I would like that to be an option. I know with the additional 15K in the pool, I don't think it's something for this year maybe, but I mean, there are times, like I said, right now they're on sale, they're normally 200, they're on sale for 100 on Amazon. So, I mean, I would hope the board would think of cost-saving measures such as that and still have a beautiful effect for the development for all of the monuments, not just some of them, so.
We did talk about, like, it was Nebula was a company, which I don't think we had the best experience with. I mean, I think they remedied the issues, but, you know, I agree with you that there are, we talked about doing all the monuments and the lighting, and then we had the big expensive project like the playground and the pool come up. We could definitely revisit that, and I know it's something that Glenn feels passionate about, that he wants all the monuments to have, you know, the lights you can control with that. And the installation might be expensive, you know, but we could definitely revisit that.
These are all LED and non-heat.
We could save money on holiday lights, right? So
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, yeah, exactly, you wouldn't be paying the 3,400
Yeah.
every year for decorating.
Just, Glenn wanted me to tell you that he spoke to Clayton about Gobi already, it's on the list for next year, he wanted me to tell you that.
I understand, like, going with a company is great, but there are other solutions that aren't gonna cost us $2,000 a monument, because that's obsessive and ridiculous. So-
Almost that faster. I agree.
Yeah. But thank you, that was my comment.
Do we want to let her add another comment?
I guess, 'cause, yeah.
Just real
I
quick.
was just gonna say, Robin donated and bought so many lights to decorate. Where did they go?
I have no idea, you all cleaned it, I mean, it was all, they were all mismatched from what we understand of what was pulled out.
She probably went through
Yeah.
Bob when I didn't.
We had a bunch of stuff in here that we tried to use as much of it as we could. You know, that's just where we're at this year with it, so, you know, we got good notes for next year, and we'll make those adjustments, hopefully, you know, without raising prices, yeah.
I don't, she just passed away, and so if she gave lights to someone, I don't know about that.
Oh, well, we have a lot, I mean, you guys have a lot of stuff here, more than I anticipated. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw it last meeting, right? It was all of it was back there. Every single piece of decoration you guys had was in that back area, so there's definitely a lot to be used. And I know Clayton did he was out here himself, going through all that stuff and figuring out what to do with it all, so.
Thank you.
Right, thanks everybody. So supervisor requests? No?
I had asked Brian about the partitioning wall over here, and talked about, that way we could have a conversation at some point about using this office space for maybe something that the community can use, and turning that area into storage, and doing this item stored in there, over there. But there wasn't anything in the answer that happened, so.
We kind of need like a concrete plan of what we're gonna do with it before we do that, because we have all those closets right there. Like, do we know exactly what we want to put there? Because we don't want to put up a wall and then be like, we don't have enough room.
Something to consider is that
And that we
area
have
is
all-
mostly used already with the additional chairs that we have, 8 tables, the popcorn and snow cone machine, just in like the, standing area. And then we talked about at the last meeting with the kind of garage things to put like bins of stuff up there, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this office as well.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna leave it to the experts to figure out a way to make that office open and like, turn, because this hospital thing is not working for me, like, I feel like.
Absolutely, no, I agree, it's an eyesore, it's not the best use of that area either, I think.
Yeah.
Is
We can do
that,
that.
obviously open for discussion, we'll take any ideas, at the end of the day, it's the board's, it's what you guys want, it's what your residents want. So without clear.
Yeah, I would take the closet doors off, I would rip them off, and I would open up the wall there, and then I would add like more shelving, so you can maximize that space, when there's like a weight bearing wall. So,
Okay.
you know, and
I
then,
mean, what
and I
do
would
you,
put more shelves
Do you have money
on.
for that this year?
What?
Do you have money for that?
So we put shelves in there, wow, they come to us with the estimates, you know?
I mean, we can at the very least get you pricing so that you know, but I think, there's a few options that you can do. You can do the idea that you can absolutely take this wall out, extend this area back, put a wall against from all the wall here and make a gym out of this front area. We could do that. Another idea would be keep this as is and just add that wall, add that gym area up there. There's a bunch of ideas that we can do. I think we just need to lock down on a couple that we feel are good, so that we can lock down an actual plan. But it's gonna be hard for us to get accurate estimates based on on just kind of ideas floating around. If we can give us exactly what you want, we can get you the quotes. I don't want to bring you guys something that you're gonna be like, no, this is not what I was thinking, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we can work with you outside of the meeting, to kind of lock that in, I think that would be helpful.
Anything else for you?
Well, I know it would be expensive to do it all right, and so that's why I was trying to start out small, like wall it off with a door, and then, you know, kind of go from there. Start to, without seeing everything that we have, yeah, so I guess I could take the lead on that, although I know it'll be rejected. Probably won't happen until 2026 maybe, but at least we get it in the budget.
All right. Any other supervisor requests? Glenn, any supervisor requests? I know we've had some issues here.
Nothing from me, buddy.
All right. Okay. Well, appreciate it, everyone. So just as a reminder, next regular board meeting is January 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. at this location. So at this point in time, we'll just be looking for a motion to adjourn. First Daniel, second Janelle. All in favor? Aye.
Bye.